It's night and day. All right, Night and Day are back to settle the score. Find out who's the best right now.
Yeah, who's the best? Say it. We're gonna win. Ultimate victory. Whoever comes out on top on this one.
And since it's time for the final fight, I gotta go back to Ryu. He failed me before, but I gotta try it.
Oh, and that means I have to go back to Spider-Man because that was quite the adversarial tie that we had there.
But I'm gonna show Evil Ryu.
Oh yeah, oh man, he looks so cool. Oh yeah, and speaking of Evil Ryu, we also have Warrior Thor as well that we're gonna try and see if I can dominate with here. He just looks way cooler. I can't imagine that he has a different actual like move set or any different like abilities, but he just looks cool, so that's fun. What do I get out of this?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the new looks are just skins.
Right.
But hopefully, maybe they did more. Maybe there's going to be a whole new moveset involved. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be nice if you kind of got two different, like two similar characters out of it, but you at least get like slightly different movesets or slightly different dialogue or something like that to go with the characters or something.
Yeah, well, in the other games, in the core Street Fighter games, Evil Ryu had his own moveset in most of them. Like, he was a completely different character. Not completely different, there were altered versions of his existing moves.
Would you like to have a match with me?
I'm so polite, even as Evil Ryu.
Yeah.
They didn't do new dialogue or anything.
At least make his voice a little bit deeper or like more menacing or something like that. Warrior Thor had different abilities in Ultimate. He had more HP.
Oh. Was it a different character? Or was it a skin?
I think it's probably technically a different character.
My spider sense is tingling.
Uh-oh, block, thank God. That's the move there, you absolutely... Oh, no!
Oh, wow. I did not see that.
Yeah,
oh,
man!
That's one.
I love those weird combos with Doctor Strange.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh.
Oh, Ryu.
What? What was that about? Oh, of course. What?
Yeah.
Of course. Oh, what was that, though? I thought you were gonna do something epic, but you just kind of sat there. Oh, that was no.
Oh, just grabbed.
Okay.
Don't give up. There's always a way.
For some reason I thought you couldn't move out on that one.
Try to get him, yes!
Oh man, that was good.
If I can get Spider-Man out of here, I think I can win. Oh.
Oh, of course. Did you just electrify the Thunder God?
Oh, I'm in a box. Oh, this is horrible.
Oh, okay.
Damn, that was... Oh my goodness.
What? What was that all about?
I don't know, but I'm out of here.
Oh man. I was hoping I could potentially get you out.
Yes!
Oh no. Well, that's no fun. Oh, that's not what I wanted.
Oh man, you saved Thor at the last second. Oh, Doctor Strange's balls are still on the screen.
What? How?
Thor hit him so hard his balls were left in the screen.
My spider sense is tingling with great.
No!
Yes, come on.
Beat
Say
down.
it so.
Oh.
Web sling and smack down. Spider cannon.
Oh.
Here we go.
Oh no, I wanted to kill him at the very end. That was the only...
God,
yes!
no.
Yes, this is all I have. Oh, that's not what I wanted at all.
Get out of here, Spider-Man. We hate you.
Oh, we hate you.
Stone!
Get the spider!
No!
Kill the spider!
No way!
Yes!
No way!
That spider has
That
to die.
that was straight butt.
Dude. I'm kind of invincible when I'm doing this.
I kind of want... There we go. I was like, I want this one move, and he's just kicking relentlessly.
I wanted to finish you with the super Shin Shoryuken thing. And that plan worked out really well.
Yeah, we both had the one move that we wanted to end it with. It was just who was going to get it first.
Oh my god.
Oh, that was insane.
Man, Spider-Man, wow. Web ball.
Yeah.
Super go. I won.
Leave alone, please. I don't like this.
Man, yeah, as soon as you hit me with the freaking web ball, I knew the super was coming, but is it one of those things where you're supposed to shake the controller to get out of that, or are you just screwed until you get nailed in the face with the super?
You're pretty much screwed until, well, it is only a set amount of time, so I don't have a lot of time to actually... I have to have a plan in place before I get that web ball in, but my ultimate plan is only web ball when I can do a super. The other part of it, he has that little drop kick that he can do, where he goes backwards and then lunges forward. Mm-hmm. That's also really good to connect the super with, but I just could not get that to work for this fight. So it's the simplest way to do it, and it's also a good way to incapacitate Ryu, because I want to stay as far away from him as possible, and that's a fantastic way to do that.
Well, playing the long game with Ryu doesn't always work because he has all the projectiles.
Right, yeah.
And the super projectile, but yeah, man. Sometimes when the camera is moving around, especially following somebody who's jumping, that's a good time for the web ball to hit because you can't see it, and if you're not 100% sure where your character is at and you're not 100% just neutral blocking, you might get nailed right then. The camera pans up, oh, it comes back down, I'm in a web, and then boom. Like, you might have only a limited amount of time, but it's very fast to activate a super in this game. So.
Oh yeah, incredibly. So you can use that to your advantage. Like, you jump to get your your opponent out of frame, and then do a web ball to try and just get a couple milliseconds of reaction time out of the way to try and force that web ball to connect.
Man,
but, yeah, that's
definitely saw some setup going on there. Like, Ryu got nailed by it, Doctor Strange got nailed by it. I am the Sorcerer Supreme. Boom, 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 get me out of this thing.
What the hell is this?
That was so close, though.
Yeah, that was fantastic. That was a great fight.
Now, I guess we're going to go into the final Cheepin' and Poppin', our final thoughts of the game.
Yeah, you read my mind on that one.
Well, you know, there's always some cheepin' when you're popping.
Oh, that's inherent. That comes with the territory.
It's natural, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know, overall, I really liked it. I like the story in this one a lot. And just the Marvel Universe, like, mixed with the Capcom Universe itself is... they did the storyline really well, and there was enough comedy to like make it funny, but it was also really serious at the same time. And the gameplay was so fun. It was great. They did change a lot from the previous ones though, so that was a bit strange to get used to the newer kind of concept of it, because you don't have like exactly that team aspect, not from what we've seen anyway, until you get like the Soul Stone involved and that kind of stuff. So it really changes the dynamic of what you're doing. But overall, I really liked it. It was really fun.
Yeah, it was definitely a really fun game. For their first attempt at a more full story mode, I thought they did a great job. Like you said, there's more comic relief than the Injustice, so if you're more of a fan of that, then you'll like it. If you're less of a fan of comic relief, then you like it less. Right. But I think overall the story was done really well. They moved it at a constantly good pace. They let you play as all the characters. They switched you up really often, so they kind of switch you too often to get used to any one character. I kind of prefer how the NetherRealm people do that more, where they let you play as one guy for generally 4 fights, and then they'll switch you out to a new character or a new team. So in this one, you couldn't really get used to any but one person, but that also keeps it extremely fresh. You're constantly trying out new moves and getting to play as new people all the time. Mm-hmm. And they fit it with the story, so you're always, wherever the danger is hitting the most, that's where they throw you. That's why you're changing characters all the time. So in that light, it works really, really well. Mm-hmm. The gameplay is awesome. It's kind of typical Marvel vs. Capcom, super frantic, high energy, really fast moving gameplay. The new things that they've added with the Infinity Stones, like you said, are different than the last couple iterations of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and 3, where it's more like constantly calling in assists and getting your teammates to do things while you're also doing things simultaneously. This game harkens back more to the older school style of games like X-Men vs. Street Fighter, where you have your ally, but they're more of the tag in and out. You can call in for assists and supers and that sort of thing, but you couldn't get them to constantly stay and fight on the same screen as you unless you're using the Soul Gem specifically. So it has a lot of the same gameplay elements as the other Marvel vs. Capcom games, but there's also a lot new with the way they changed the team dynamic and the way that they brought in the Infinity Stone gameplay element. So
I like the constantly changing characters, like you said, because it did keep things fresh and you didn't have to, like, you don't get a chance to really perfect your fighting style with one character. But driving the story forward, I appreciated that they actually kept it going in the most intense form as possible. And they also put you in both scenarios where you are the villain and you also are the hero. Like you facing, or you being Thanos and you being Ultron. Yeah, you get to get your hands in a lot of different styles of battles. Like having to face the boss while Dante is being killed, or having to save the city, or having to hold off people while the tower gets its defenses up, or you're just like knocking down massive people or something like that. There's a lot of different elements to the game, but overall they did a really good job in the story. I like that they kind of kept true to the characters' personalities. Tony Stark gets to be super like snarky and like pretentious and stuff like that, and then you get Peter Parker's with this like joking all the time, like nothing's ever that serious, and Thor is only serious, and Captain America has his feel. Like all the Marvel characters like really stuck to what you know them as. In the Capcom series, I'm not that familiar with all of them. I just know like the only part with Ryu was when he became an like astronomer out of nowhere. That was pretty interesting, but everything else looked pretty dead on.
Yeah, I don't know why he was on a research team, but yeah, other than that, they were true to the characters in both fronts. The Marvel people, like you said, the voice actors did a great job of playing their respective roles. The characters, the Capcom ones as well, were saying lines that were true to the characters. Ryu was in touch with his own spiritual power and trying to maintain focus and control. And when Thanos drained the dark energy out of him, he felt more at peace suddenly because he finally didn't have to keep holding his darkness back. That's pretty cool. Chun-Li was commenting on nature. There's no birds here. When they got to Asgard, like everything is still. There's no life. Her other comments to Rocket about throwing people in prison, that's all in line with her character.
Right.
Yeah, they had a good attention to detail with all the characters, even when it was just a line or two here or there. Mega Man X was all concerned with trying to do the right thing. Should we do this? Should I do that? Am I strong enough?
Right.
That's been a character trait of his throughout his series. And yeah, I know in the previous games they actually had consultants, so they made sure that the comic characters were speaking lines that they would have spoken, that the dialogue is true to those characters, because they hired comic consultants to make sure that that would happen.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, I love that. I love that they didn't, I guess, sacrifice anything just to make the storyline like funnier or better for a certain direction. Like they kind of morphed everything together and kept it as it should be in just the respective ways of the previous characters, and then kind of morphed the storyline around that.
Right.
Has a really good base too.
Right. Like the comic relief characters kept the comic relief flowing.
Right.
Like Rocket Raccoon's constantly cracking jokes, Spider-Man is, and then Iron Man is, and then the other characters who are just not all serious all the time, but mostly serious most of the time. Right. Captain America, Mega Man X, they're just driving things forward.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think they did a really good job with that, kind of walking that line there. And the comic relief was, I personally really enjoyed it. But yeah, if you're looking for a super serious game, you're probably not going to find it here. But overall, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, if you want something more serious, you can check out our Injustice 2 playthrough. There's much less comic relief in that game. Yeah. All the characters treat it more seriously, like it is a world-ending kind of scenario. It's kind of a similar take to how they're doing the movies universes, and the DC universe is taking a more serious outlook, and the Marvel universe tries to keep it lighter. I mean, in this game, the story was kind of hokey in a couple of points. They're definitely just throwing things in there to keep the story moving, and to make the shared universe work.
Right.
Because the whole concept is kind of goofy. It's Marvel versus Capcom. Capcom in and of itself is a bunch of different worlds. They're not like one planet where Mega Man hangs out with, you know, all the Resident Evil people in one harmonious world. So it's already Arthur, obviously. They kept him out of every end scene because the game had gone to a more serious point at that point.
Yeah, he didn't exist for a long time.
The story had a lot of goofy things like the asteroid with the virus is falling, the symbiote is jumping to fetch the ball, and then we all shoot at the same time, and the virus explodes and it activates going all over the planet. That was a weird plan. That didn't seem like there was genius level intellect in carrying out that plan, Iron Man.
Not a great plan.
And then you kill the robot guy, and magically everyone is immediately cured of a techno-organic illness that's already in their bloodstream. You know, you get a lot of goofy plot things. The game wasn't written for the point of having like the world's most believable, strict storyline. It was a lot of fun for the shared universe. So.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the comic book kind of storyline, but they try to tailor it to fit both realms and simultaneously. So to write that story, I definitely understand like there's going to be holes, but the whole Marvel vs. Capcom idea has its own holes.
Yeah, to make it work, you kind of have to be willing to suspend some disbelief.
Oh, definitely.
I do really like how they created the universe, though. They brought in the Infinity Gems. See, that's where it's weird. Like, they're not toning them down in that light. Like, the Infinity Gems, just 2 of them, space and reality, were enough to warp all of these different universes together and create the convergence and make these things a new singular reality at the whim of Ultron and Sigma. So they're that powerful. I'm sorry, I don't care if the Satori no Hado has defeated demons and gods. Yeah, but it can't rewrite reality. It's a completely different level. Like, I've got a nuclear bomb. Yeah, but I can think, just with a thought, I can make it so that nuclear bombs were never invented. World War II has now been fought over who had the biggest, most colorful ice cream scoop. I mean, it's just...
That would definitely be a much more interesting thing in the textbooks to read.
It's just not at the same level, so... I don't know, Thanos. I think you're smoking something to give Gamora an Infinity Stone and then just leave happily with your new toy. But whatever. We'll see what happens in the next game.
Yeah, definitely.
The music was pretty good. I would say it wasn't, you know, mind-blowingly good.
Oh, yeah.
It's high energy.
As you'd expect in a fighting game, definitely, yeah. And,
I don't think they necessarily hit the feel of the franchise as on point as Injustice did, because whoever did the score for that really got the feel of the DC movies for that whole universe. It was one of the highlights of that series. Whereas this game, it's high energy and it's good for a fighting game, like you said, but it doesn't really make you go, oh yeah, I'm in the Marvel movies right now.
Right, yeah. Because, yeah, in this game, it's also the, like, you have the comic relief, you have the blending of the Marvel and Capcom series, like, because the Capcom, from what I've played anyway, it's very similar to this, where it's really high action, really intense, but it's not like drawing you in with the score of it like an Injustice game.
It depends on the game, I think. Like Mega Man that series is known for having really good music. If anything, this music kind of follows that kind of theme, where yeah, it's high energy, keeps you moving, it's fast paced, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, it doesn't have like an emotional pull, but it works well for a fighting game. But Capcom games in general have a wide variety of genres. So you've got, you know, spooky old school horror, spooky old school horror, like gothic type music, and then you have more fast-paced stuff with Mega Man and everything in between. So, I mean, overall the music for this game is really good.
Yeah, it's definitely good, and it serves the purpose, I think, that they kind of intended, I think. But yeah, it doesn't transform you into this new realm like Injustice kind of did.
Yeah, the final fight with Ultron Sigma, the music picked up, and it was really strong there too. But overall, music's great. It's just, I'd say it's above average. It's just not in the excellent zone.
Right. And for some reason, the gameplay with the verses, it just blew out the story like fight for me. Like, it was just so much fun, the fights between you and me. So it makes me like this game even more. Like, the storyline itself was fantastic, and I had a great time with that. But I think having the most fun was just you and me just destroying each other.
Yeah. It's always, I mean, that's the hugest draw for the fighting games.
Right, yeah.
I mean, the couch co-op version is a lot of fun, or the couch kill each other version in this case.
Yeah.
But there's also the fun aspect in the online play. We didn't really experience the online play. I'm not sure if it suffers from a lot of frame drops or if the lag drags it down a little bit, but definitely when you're just hanging out with your friends playing it, it's just endless fun. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it's so fantastic. It's definitely it gets you gets your blood going a little bit. It's like when you're on the brink but you feel like you can pull out of it. Oh man, there's nothing better.
Oh man, yeah, I know. That first Ryu fight, I was like, I've got to do this. Oh man, it's Spider-Man again. No. All right, so yeah, the versus mode is a lot of fun. The story mode is fun. The one thing about the versus mode is, at least for now, the roster's smaller than the usual Marvel vs. Capcom game. There's 30 characters in the game as default, and then there's been 6 characters announced as DLC. One of the cons of the game is some people complain that the rosters feel a little bit thin at the moment. There's 0 X-Men characters in it.
Right.
The DLC characters so far that they have mentioned don't include X-Men. You have more cinematic universe characters like Black Widow, Black Panther.
Yeah. I think Venom is also in there. I don't know for...
Sigma's in there for Capcom.
Right, yeah.
That's cool that Venom's in there because he's not explicitly a Marvel Cinematic Universe character.
Right, yeah.
There's going to be a Venom movie made, but it's a weird standalone Sony thing. Like, Sony's so confused with the way that they've been handling the movies for the properties that they own. But yeah, so eventually the roster is going to get bigger and bigger. Like, the people saying, oh no, there's only 30 characters, they're just overreacting. Every one of these Marvel vs. Capcom games starts out with a smaller roster and then it expands. Like, the previous one had started with 36 characters, but then by the end of all the DLC, they had 50.
Right.
So that's not a concern. What might be a concern is which characters end up making the final cut.
Definitely, yeah. If they're going to be kind of like throwaway or like more funny kind of characters or like trolling kind of characters, or are they actually going to like change the dynamic of the game if you put one of these characters on your team? Like if they're like a new Dante or a new Spider-Man or a new Ryu or something like that, then that really changes your dynamic. But if it's another Arthur or it's another character that doesn't get you very far, then yeah, that's going to be a little weak.
I don't mind if they bring in a few joke characters, because that's always fun when you have rosters that are this big. Maybe they could do Baby Groot. That would be pretty funny.
Oh, that would be really cool. Yeah.
And like, he might be so broken because he'd have such a small hitbox that he's so good he's banned from tournaments. Who knows with the way these things work. But I just hope that with the choices that they do make, that are some of the usual, some of the unexpected, and some of the goofy ones, that they still hit home and get the most sought-after characters. Like, get Wolverine in there, get some of the X-Men in there. Don't just cheese them out because Marvel doesn't own the rights now and it's stuck with all this legal garbage in the movie universe. Right. Okay, they don't own Fantastic Four and the X-Men, so there's no Wolverine, Doctor Doom, and Magneto. That's kind of trash. Those guys are famous staples to the series.
Oh, definitely. Every Marvel vs. Capcom game that you play has that as a dynamic, and Wolverine is definitely, I'd say, one of the biggest draws in this whole series.
Yeah, he's one of the most iconic Marvel heroes of them all.
Right, exactly. So yeah, for them not put this in there, it's definitely going to be a detriment to that. Hopefully, yeah, they can sort that out and work that into the future DLC.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel still owns the rights to the characters. They can use them for this game. They're just choosing not to for the same reason, you know, they canceled the Fantastic Four comic book. They don't want to give free advertising and put in a lot of money, time, and effort into properties that are basically advertising for Sony's film franchise.
Right.
That's understandable. But, you know, don't bring your own work down as a side effect to that.
Right, yeah.
Have some integrity and still make the quality of what you're producing still really high quality. And give the fans what they want. And that means, if it's a Marvel vs. Capcom game, freaking Wolverine in.
Yeah, put the classics in. Like, don't change the staple of what brought people into the game in the first place. Like, it's like built its own universe around the Marvel vs. Capcom series, so why change that now? But yeah, overall, all things considered, I really like the game. Like, it's definitely one you pick up and you just have fun with it constantly. Like, whether you're doing the story, whether you're doing, like, just messing around with your friends, like, anything like that, you're gonna have a great time playing the game.
Yeah, so overall, in terms of giving this game a final review score, I'd say I would give this game a solid 8 out of 10. Yeah. Possibly with the DLC, if they bring in all the characters and there's a final version of this game, that could bump it up to an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10, but depending on how they handle it, if they do the right thing and bring in all the fan favorites. But right now, it's definitely a solid 8.
Okay, yeah, I would say I'll definitely ride along with you on that train of thought. If they bring in like the right characters and get that dynamic going, it'll be a solid 9 out of 10 for me. But for right now, I really like the game, so I'll give it an 8.5.
Yeah, the only problem I have with, even if they bring in all the best characters as DLC, it's still like as DLC. Like, hey guy, we heard you like Wolverine. If you really like Wolverine, fork over the money.
Right, yeah.
So it's still, I'm not a huge fan of that business practice.
Right.
But that's just how games are nowadays. That's part of every game.
Yeah.
I am happy to see a complete product from Capcom right off the bat. None of the Street Fighter V controversy. This is a complete game. It has a story mode. It has versus mode. Everything's here. And the DLC characters will come out over time, and hopefully we'll see the roster that everybody wants to see by the end.
Right. Looking forward to possibly an Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. That would be, I feel like, a 9 for me, easy.
We'll keep our eyes out for how the game develops over time, and you guys can let us know if you want to see more out of this game, if you want to see more crazy verses of us killing each other, or if you want to potentially see DLC characters as they come out, or overall we might revisit it once they're all out, something like that. Let us know either way.
Yeah, definitely. Like, just leave your thoughts. What you think about the game? How'd you like it? And what you'd like to see in the future. They have some arcades. They have some missions. Yeah, just let us know what you want to see.
Or if there's any other games you want us to play, let us know about those too. We can play anything!
Yeah, the world is our play oyster. Alright, we'll catch you guys in the next game.